Dozens of state Democratic lawmakers in Texas have, of course, fled the state, as most people should be aware of by now, in order to avoid having the Republican-controlled legislature getting a quorum so that they can finally pass their grotesquely gerrymandered new districts ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. These gerrymandered new districts are so bad and so heavily in favor of Republicans that they actually get rid of Jasmine Crockett's district. Like, she would no longer actually even live in her own district because these lines are so poorly drawn to favor Republicans. And of course, this is a measure that Donald Trump admitted. He called the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, told Greg Abbott to do this, and so of course Greg Abbott did it. This is part of Donald Trump and the Republican Party's attempt to continue to steal future elections and effectively gerrymander Democrats out of existence. But so far, according to the Democrats in the state, 57 state Democratic lawmakers have left. They're beyond state lines, which is important. And so Republicans in the legislature voted this week to send out civil arrest warrants to bring these Democratic lawmakers back into the House so, by God, we can gerrymander them out of existence. This is resistance. These Democratic lawmakers in the state of Texas, who make a couple $100 a week, by the way, and they're facing fines of $500 a day that they don't show up, what they are doing right now is showing the rest of the country how you fight back. They're putting themselves at risk, their financial stability at risk. They're risking it all to protect what needs to be protected. And everybody, not just the Democratic Party in this country, though they should be paying special attention, everybody needs to be paying attention. This is a masterclass in how you stand up to those in power. I love every second of this. And by the way, those civil arrest warrants that the Republicans voted to, put in place, they only apply within state lines. So that means that the police officers or, the sergeant at arms, whoever it is, the state troopers that they send out there, once these Democrats leave the state, which they have, they can't do anything. So all these Democrats have to do is wait it out for 2 weeks. And yes, they will get fined. That could severely financially hurt many of them. But as long as they stay out of the state for the next 2 weeks, this special session that Greg Abbott had called to do this will expire, and then they can come back. But here's the thing. Technically, even though Greg Abbott did call the special session to do this, that wasn't the official reason. I don't know if everybody remembers this, but Texas had some pretty nasty flooding last month. So the special session was actually called to deal with that catastrophe, to figure out response, what we're going to do, what are we going to fund, how are we going to fix it, how do we put these people's lives back together. But instead of doing that, instead of protecting the flood victims and preventing natural disasters like this in the future, they went the gerrymander avenue. That's what they wanted to do. That was the guise. We're going to pretend to give a damn about people, but what we're really doing is taking away millions of people's voices in our elections. That is how disgusting these Republicans in Texas are, from the bottom to the top at the state. This is the worst of the worst that the Republican Party has to offer, and they are doing it in a state, one, they don't even need to do it for. It's Texas. You guys are in no danger of turning blue. But you want to steal future elections. Donald Trump told you to do this, so you're doing it. And by the way, Trump also admitted they're talking about 5 other Republican governors who he's directing to do the same thing. But of course, payback's a bitch, isn't it? Because you now have the governors of both New York State and California threatening to do the same thing and effectively redraw all of their lines so that Republicans have 0 seats. And of course, this would then be how democracy in this country dies. So I do applaud the Democrats in Texas for leaving. I applaud the Democrats in the other states for talking tough. However, if we go down this path and everybody just redraws their lines based on who the governor is, what party they're affiliated with, It's over. It's over. We're done. As a country, we are done. But it's all starting in Texas, at the direction of Donald Trump. By now, you know Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed, but almost no one's reporting how ICE is going to get nearly $40 billion of our tax dollars a year, making it the most heavily funded law enforcement agency in U.S. history. That's more money than most nations actually spend on their entire military. So much of our media is either missing the worst of this bill or twisting the language so that you think it's all in your best interest. But we have seen the ICE raids ramping up, and now Trump's openly threatening to deport U.S. citizens. This should be the biggest story in America, yet it's buried, which is what makes Ground News essential right now. They're the only tool that I've found that is exposing these blind spots in the media. By gathering the world's news in one place, organizing it by story, then analyzing just how far right and radical each unbiased source actually is, you get way more context than you ever would anywhere else. If we're being honest, we have seen Trump's power grabs throughout history. They said never again, and that means never again everywhere, and right now, it's happening here. So if you want to stay ahead on immigration, the economy, or simply finding the stories missing from your news feeds, Ground News has you covered. Their app and website is a smarter, more reliable way to stay informed at a time when MAGA is banking on us to stay distracted. So I've partnered with them to get you 40% off the very same Vantage plan that I've been using. That comes out to about $5 per month for unlimited access to everything that I've mentioned and more. Just go to ground.news/ROF or scan the QR code to subscribe. With at least another 4 years of this, we can't afford to miss these details.